Dada! Hello. Just us now. No! Stop! Being born. Painful, isn't it? But don't stress. Don't fuss. This is all being recorded. Sand compressed through a sieve. A sieve. And these are the grains that are falling. Hear them falling. Falling through the sieve.
Inimitable. 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 How many more minutes? How many?
Ahoy down there! You found us all right then? Well, evidently you did.
Oh, hello. Can I?
Oh, come up. Yes. Don't be shy. We're all friends here.
Oh, thank you.
So, you've come to join our great endeavour, have you? Can't say I'm surprised. Felt the way the wind was blowing, did you?
Yes. Well, to tell you the truth, there's not really anyone
Else? I suppose not. What a world, eh? One moment there's 7 billion of us and the next there's not. But that's the start of days for you.
You mean the end?
No, we had it rebranded months ago. Good for morale.
I see.
No use crying over spilt ink, is there? In this day and age, we have to make do with what we have, and only what we have. The way ahead is looking rough, choppy, and downright miserable. So where do we turn?
Backwards and downwards.
Backwards and downwards, precisely. There's a man who's read his Mr. Grain.
Oh yes. Cover to cover.
Side to side. That's the ticket. Now, introductions. I'm Captain, as I'm sure you've gathered.
Captain...
Oh, just Captain, if you don't mind. We prefer titles here. Good for morale. What's your line, lad?
My line?
Yes, your line.
Sorry, you want me to say my line?
Of course. Don't you remember your line?
Well,
Of work, your line of work.
my line is... poetry. Yes, of course. My line is poetry.
Then it's a pleasure to meet you, poet.
Oh no, my name isn't Poet, it's...
As I say, we prefer titles. Everybody's contributions all lined up, prim and trim in their black and white. No mess, no fuss, no...
Poetry?
He's a wit, this one. You'll do nicely, poet. Now, I know this might be difficult, but you must promise not to think of me as your superior. See, at heart, I'm more of a chatty rudder, here to steer this little enterprise of ours out of its murky metaphorical harbour into the bright, clear oceans of yesterday.
Oh, that was rather good. Can I note it down?
Be my guest. Though they were Mr. Grain's words, of course, not my own. Welcome to the good ship Backwards, poet. It's good to have you aboard.
How did I do, Chef?
80 seconds, love.
Again.
Well, teacher, what did you expect?
But it's always 80 seconds. It doesn't matter if I jog, crawl or fly. Why is it always 80 seconds? The answer's in here somewhere, it has to be.
Well, I don't know why you're complaining. Consistency's never a bad thing. At least it isn't new.
You're nervous, aren't you?
We don't do new here. Matter of principle, ain't it?
Try not to think of him as new. In a way, he's the oldest friend we have.
How do you work that one out?
Well, take this manuscript. Have you read it?
Oh, you must be joking. That's a long way off my line.
So it's new to you.
Yes, but... Oh, hang on. I see what you're doing. This is a totally different thing. We're talking about a man, not a manuscript.
What's it made of?
I don't know. Paper?
Words, chef. Words! The same thing that makes up everything else. A writer puts them in, an eye soaks them up, and the words escape back into the ears and thoughts of people. They change, arrange, rearrange. Eventually they make a man. The new man. Do you see?
Not really, no.
I'm saying that in a world like ours, in a world of verbal recycling, there can never be anything truly new. Everything has come before and will come again, just in a different order. Manuscript to man to manuscript. Does that help?
Well, no, to be honest with you, but you said it beautifully. Suppose that's why you're the teacher.
I suppose. Look, I'm going to try again. Why don't you come with me?
I think I'll stay here. Stick to my line.
Very wise, Chef. Mr. Poet, allow me to introduce you to our very own Mr. Chef, creator and conveyor of a positive cornucopia of culinary collations.
Nice to see a new face.
Yes, I'm sure it is. New faces, like you say, very nice.
And the agitated lady getting up from the floor there is Miss Teacher.
80? Why is it 80?
Pleasure to meet you. Oh, was it something I said?
Don't mind her, Poet. In 80 seconds, she'll be back.
Very sure.
That's how long it takes to get round the world.
Around the world in 80 seconds? How fast is she running?
It doesn't really matter. Mr. Grain was... What am I saying? Is very particular. 80 seconds. No more, no less. It's a scientific fact.
The teacher's got this crazy idea she can prove it wrong.
Good haul today, Chef?
See for yourself. Sizzle.
Well, I never. Just look at all that food. Alas, my words alone could not hope to convey its quality.
Oh, go on. Give it a try. A taste.
Can I see?
My. He does need fattening up, doesn't he, Captain?
My thoughts exactly, Chef.
Fattening.
Oh, yes. A bit of gorging, some plumping. A little mincing, maybe. Some roasting. Juicy.
Filling in. And out. In. And out.
Filling out.
It's the out, you see, that's the problem. Sizzle. The backwards. Sizzle. The background. You're blurry at the edges, Mr. Poet.
Like you're not quite here. Not quite part of the team. But in time. Oh, yes. It will come in time.
80 seconds again. How? I went so slowly I was practically going backwards.
Maybe you need a new watch?
Oh, no. Not a new one.
I don't...
Understand, Miss Teacher, that your line is your line. If you were built to break the laws of physics, Mr. Grain would have made it so.
Yes, you're right. Sorry, Captain. I was distracted.
Well, that's quite all right, Teacher. These are trying times. But you have a far more valuable task ahead of... forgive me. Behind you.
What task?
Founding society. It's quite a lot of work, actually.
But you do it splendidly.
I say founding. It's more like rebinding. We took these from the outside, you see, before the start. The words and the pages, the printing and the microchips. That's our entire history right there in front of you.
And you're trying to piece it all back together to find out where it went wrong.
So that this time...
We
can get it right. A past reshaped for us exactly as was. Perfect to the tiniest little detail. So one day we may emerge as our inimitable founder, Mr. Grain, intended, into the glory of the proper and the correct. Backwards and downwards!
backwards and downwards.
But isn't that all rather a lot for just the three of you?
4, you mean?
It's the start of days, Poet. Can't afford to be choosy, can we? Can't afford to complain. Mr. Grain is relying on us. Anyway, I really must be getting on. Lots to do. Ship won't steer itself.
But what should I do?
Your line, Poet. Just your line. Carry on all.
My line. Right.
Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle.
So, Chef, what is it you're cooking?
It's tangled, Mummy. Like spaghetti.
Well, that was delicious.
It's like your meals get better every week, Chef.
Every week, so much food.
Tangled.
Nice and filled. In.
And
Out.
so, let's see what you remember from last time. Poet, complete this historical fact for me. So the wolf huffed, and he puffed, and he what?
Oh, I know this one.
Quiet, Chef, I'm asking Poet. Well, do you remember?
So he huffed, and he puffed, and he erected a quaint little 3-bedroom property just off the Edgware Road.
Oh, I knew that one.
Very well done, Poet. Now, Captain. Which came first, the Roman Empire or the microwave meal?
Ah, trick question that one, teacher. The Roman Empire was, as we all know, a treatment for a television miniseries that never made it past pilot phase, whereas the microwave meal was an impractical notion dreamt up by Scottish inventor Leonardo da Vinci. And, if memory serves, both were conceived on the same day.
So your answer is?
Both! And neither.
Nicely phrased. Now for your question, Chef. How many more minutes? How many?
Time. Not so good for morale, time. Not so good at all.
80 seconds.
Side B.
Do you remember it? The ending?
The what?
Sorry, the starting? The beginning? Is that right?
Oh, the start of days, you mean? Do you know, I think I must have slept through it.
And me.
Sizzle. Sizzle.
So you don't remember what happened?
Well, I wouldn't say that, no.
Not something you'd forget in a hurry. One moment there were 7 billion of us, and the next...
There weren't.
Exactly.
Funny. That's just what the captain said.
Clever man, that captain.
Where is the captain?
Busy steering the ship, I dare say.
Yes, of course. Silly of me. That's the start of days for you. Plays all sorts of tricks.
Do you remember how the start happened? Why it happened?
You ask a lot of questions, don't you?
It's just my line.
Oh, well, that's all right then. Nearly ready? Classic recipe, this one.
Oh, really? Can I see?
Funny thing, memory. The more we work, the more we learn about how things used to be, the less I seem to remember about them.
That's completely illogical.
I must have been a poet before. Somewhere else. I suppose I was poor, but was I liked? Was I happy? Did I have a family?
Family? What's that?
I have no idea. Feels like something I used to know.
Well, if you weren't happy then, you are now. Thanks to our Mr. Grain. Backwards and downwards.
Backwards and downwards.
I tried to remember. I even wrote a little on the way here.
About before?
About after.
After?
Oh, teacher, keep away from him.
Goodness knows how long you've been down here, but the world out there, well, it's still standing. Shrubbery, supermarket, suburbia, everything. But the stages, they keep their ears to the ground. And even though the planes have fallen from the sky, the bonnets of the cars are still warmed in the sun.
Don't listen to him. Doesn't know what he's saying.
The houses are the worst, though. You've no idea how many pass me by. All alike. Solid, squalid things, brittle, yawning with space. Empty beds and twisted chairs. Cupboards full of tins and crockery. Tables laid for the ghosts, waiting patiently through the windows. And the clocks are still ticking.
Stop it. That's morbid. Too morbid.
Yes, best not to think about these things.
But they are things. Real things. Fixed and flux. If they only knew how long they'd be waiting. How frightened they would be.
That's enough.
Sorry, it's just... It seemed important to note it down before I left, before I came here. I think this is all I have now of before, like scribbles of somebody else.
And you wrote in your little notebook about this after, did you? Whatever for?
To pass the time, I suppose?
Time will pass with or without you, lad. It is an interminable problem. It doesn't mean we have to accept it, though. You're one of us now, poet, one of us! Give me the book. Let's have no more of this after nonsense.
Here.
Thank you. I'll keep it safe, never fear, until it's ready to become posterity. Backwards and downwards, eh?
Backwards and downwards.
That's the ticket. Tomorrow is a bother, but it's a bother for the absent. Friends, we must turn our minds back to earlier. Leave those quiet tables to their later. Carry on. They've gone. Now, let's see. Nonsense. Gibberish. Nonsense. Afterwards, indeed. I know your game, poet. Always the problem. Too many questions. And then there's the teacher.
80. 80. 80.
Always 80. Can't they understand it doesn't matter why, so long as it is right? That is all. It just has to be right. Yes. Then I can go. We can all go. Into the proper. And the corrupt.
You're leaving, Captain.
After a fashion. Papers should be arriving any day now. Should have arrived. Perhaps there was an oversight. Who am I to question?
No, but when will you go? Where will you go?
Oh, somewhere very special, I assure you. As to when, that's all down to our inimitable founder, Mr. Gray. He calls the shots.
And quite right, too.
And is he here, Mr. Grain?
He's a busy man. So we hear.
Sizzle.
And that's why he needs me.
Sizzle.
Someone he can trust. Someone to keep a firm grip on the wheel, for now, at least.
Pity. I had hoped to meet him. Maybe one day.
Well, mustache. Things to do. Ship won't steer itself.
Where's he going?
Like he said, things to do. For grain's sake, poet! You didn't have to come. Remember what teacher taught us? Curiosity killed the hat, and in this scenario, you're the hat.
I know. I just wanted to see.
Whoa! He's got a hold of the ship! Where's my gun?
What is it?
Hard to say. Tomato, tofu. Could be a wild tagliatelle. Oh, then we'd really be in trouble.
Why can't I see it?
I think there's a pack of them.
We're surrounded?
Don't panic! Worst thing you can do is panic! They can smell
It's
it!
right on top of us!
Delicious.
One blast.
And it was dead?
Vegetarian. Good for morale!
What's 4 plus 4?
As long as you cut it or bought it.
How long is a piece of string?
1989.
When was the fall of the Berlin Wall?
8.
Why does it take 80 seconds to go round the world?
Those are the words of Mr. Gray.
And here we go again. What's 4 plus 4?
8.
Wrong.
Start again.
Teacher, will the work ever be finished?
Oh yes, one day. One day, and on that day everything will begin and we will go out and live. really live. We'll drink, party, repopulate. We'll do everything we've heard and read. And we'll make it all right again. That's worth working for, fighting for.
I'm not so sure. I don't think the work will ever be finished.
There's only so much paper.
Yes, but it doesn't feel right. It feels like we're just rolling this weight, this great boulder up a hill. And every time we think we understand, it just rolls back down and flattens us. Don't you feel that?
No, but I deal with facts, not philosophy, poets. There's only so much to know. Everything has come before, so one day I will have read it all. Every single thing. I'll know everything there is to know, and that will be that.
Yes, but what if you forget?
Forget? Oh, I never forget.
But what if you do? What if you open a book and start reading and it seems fresh, bright and new, but there's something about it you can't quite place. Something familiar.
Like an old friend. The oldest friend we have.
Yes, that book. You've already read it. You just don't know it. You don't remember. So you start again, page by page, over and over, rolling the boulder up the hill. Forever.
Impossible. As I say, I never forget.
Then how did it end? How did everything end?
Proper terminology, please.
How did the world end?
I told you. We...
How can we prevent it happening again if we don't even remember it?
Of course we remember.
Shall I tell you what I think? I think there were no bombs, no explosions, no chaos. I think we were driven indoors. Just indoors. No mess, no fuss, no poetry. Then, after a while, when we realized there was nowhere further to go, we crawled into ourselves instead. We opened up our hearts and carved a place to disappear, to hide. Hiding and falling forever. Sent through the sieve.
You mustn't think these things. It isn't...
Correct? But you think it too, don't you? 80 seconds. Why is it always 80 seconds?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Now I have one more question. Wherever we are, it isn't a boat. We're not moving. There is no ship to steer. So where does the captain go when he's not with us?
It's a new day. Bright and early, feel the breeze. Salty air, the waves lapping against the bow. And here we are, moving swiftly in reverse, further and further from the shore, backwards and downwards.
Very jolly, Captain.
You can tell. You know, Chef, I have a good feeling about this time, a very good feeling.
That's nice, Captain.
You ever thought about how it started, Chef?
Me, sir? Should I?
You're a good boy, Chef. Always a good boy. Fattening them up for me, nice and proper, but never too much. No, too much and they start to get ideas.
Ideas, sir?
Tangled.
Quiet now. This is it. Where Captain goes when he's not with us.
That book on the floor. I've never seen it before. Have you?
No. I don't believe it. It's new.
No. I think it's old. It looks very old.
Careful with it.
The end. I'll begin at the end. No. Oh no, teacher. It's not paper. It's...
And I had such a good feeling. Here we go again. There you go again. There again. Here we go again.
How many more minutes? How many?
Ahoy down there! You found us all right then? Well, evidently you did.
Oh, hello. Can I...
Oh, come up. Yes. Don't be shy. We're all friends here.
Thank you.
So, You've come to join our great endeavour, have you?
Yes, though to tell you the truth, there's not really anyone.
Else? I suppose not. I don't know, 1 minute there's 7 billion of us and the next.
There's not?
There's not! Ha! But that's the start of days for you. Hang on. You're not supposed to interrupt.
Am I not? So sorry. I'll stick to my line. Poetry, that is.
Poetry, yes, jolly good. Now, introductions. I'm Captain, as I'm sure you've gathered.
Captain...
Oh, just Captain, if you don't mind. We prefer titles here. Good for morale. Pleasure to meet you again, poet. Welcome to the good ship Backwards. It's good to have you aboard.
In a world like ours, Chef, in a world of verbal recycling, there can never be anything truly new. It's all come before, just in a different order.
You don't say.
Friends, allow me to introduce Mr. Poet, witty writer of a wondrous whirl of vernacular verisimilitude.
Oh, hello!
Needs fattening up, this one, doesn't he?
My thoughts exactly. Needs defining,
Focusing.
widening.
Bit of sizzle. Background to it.
Nice to see a new face.
Yes, like you say, new faces. Very nice.
Just in a different order.
Don't mind her, Poet. In 80 seconds she'll be back.
You're very sure.
That's how long it takes to get round the world.
Around the world in 80 seconds?
Mr. Grain was, what am I saying, is very particular.
Mr. Grain. No, I should like to meet him. He's the reason I'm here.
The reason we're all here. Clever man, that Mr. Gray.
Remind us why we're here, teacher.
To bring the past back to life, Captain, to the tiniest detail, just as Mr. Grain intended, making it familiar again.
Familiar. Something familiar.
What's 4 plus 4?
As long as you cut it or board it.
Very good indeed.
We'll take it together, Captain.
Speed it up, confuse it.
I can't see it. Why can't I see it?
Bang!
How many more minutes? Do you remember it? The end?
No, that won't do. Won't do at all. But mustn't peek, mustn't look ahead. Trust in Mr. Grain. Leave my line to my line. My lines. What are my lines? Listen.
Listen.
It's why I came, I think.
I don't think you should be telling us this. If the captain heard you...
Something isn't right. I know it, and I think you know it too.
It isn't right, but it will be. It will be. If I can just gather the information, feed it to you, then everything will be all right. Everything will be correct.
I won't ask about after again. I know that's forbidden, but how about this? What about before?
Before?
What were you, Chef? What were you before you came here? Before you'd ever heard of Mr. Grain and his backwards people?
I've been a chef all my life, since birth.
Since birth? You came out of the room sizzling food, did you?
Painful, isn't it?
No,
That's enough.
Why am I here? Why me? Chef cooks for us, teacher thinks for us, the captain steers the ship for us, but me? What do? I ask questions. That's all I can do. I ask questions and use other people's words.
Other people's sounds.
Verbal recycling.
And I can't stop them. I've tried and I can't. I can't stop the questions. It's like they aren't even mine.
Nothing is ever truly new.
Here we go again. Backwards and downwards.
Backwards and downwards.
Why I came. How many more minutes? How many?
Something new. How many more minutes? How many?
Oh, hello there. Nice to see a new face.
Ahoy there!
Oh, no, come back. Was it something I said?
You found us all right then? Well, evidently you did.
Did you see where she went?
What did you say?
I said, did you see where she went?
But that's not your line. Your line is...
Poetry. But there was a... No. Must have been mistaken. Sorry, that's the end of days for you. Plays all sorts of tricks.
Ah, yes, I suppose it does. Although I should point out we're calling it the start of days now. Good for morale. Now, introductions. I'm... Never mind.
I'm sorry?
Are you tired, poet? Because I'm exceedingly tired.
Busy schedule in your line?
No, that's not what's exhausting. It's more the lack of variety.
Really?
You wouldn't understand. You would not understand. There's enough irony in that to fill several books, isn't there, poet? Books. Sounds. Tape. Hours. How many more minutes? Yes, all right. Sorry, I'll get on with it. Welcome to the good ship backwards, Mr. Poet. It's good to have you aboard.
Teacher's at it again.
I don't know why she can't just accept it. It's 80 seconds and that's that.
Yes, well, you're a very accepting person, Chef. Teacher isn't. She needs her facts, her answers.
Like you need your questions?
Yes, happy sort of balance, isn't it?
Yes. I'm sure you'll manage just fine without me when the time comes.
And here she comes.
It's not been 80 seconds yet, surely.
Teacher.
Hello.
What's happened to her? She's all wrong.
No.
Should I fatten her up?
No. That is not the teacher.
But it has to be. There's only 4 of us here, so that must be teacher.
80 seconds again! Oh.
Okay. Well, I feel fairly confident now in saying that's not teacher.
You think?
But she's like us. She's just like us.
No. She's wrong. She's all wrong. Throw her out.
What?
You heard me. It's for the good of the majority. She must be an outsider. Yes. Who knows what diseases she may have?
Infections. You think...
Oh, could be. Could be. Not good for morale diseases. Decidedly bad for morale, wouldn't you say, Mr. Poet?
Captain, it's not our job to speculate. We deal with facts, not fancies. The fact is that she's here. She needs help.
She's not a she. She's an it. A monster.
No, teacher's right. We have a duty of care, innocent until proven guilty.
Mr. Grain specified 4. There should be 4, not 5.
We should help her. Give her shelter.
Don't suppose we could eat her?
No!
Oh,
Oh, it's just a thought.
Chef!
Don't look at me like that. It wasn't my thought.
Stay here. I'm going to talk to her. Hello? No, don't be frightened. It's all right. I'm teacher. What's your name?
Mama?
Mama? Your mama?
The creature's clearly delirious. What sort of a line is Nana? No, it won't do.
Child. We'll call her Child. It sounds innocent.
Child.
You like that?
Child.
Fine, you child. You can stay, but I'm watching you. Any sign of trouble and you're out. Do you hear?
Child.
Ah!
Sizzle, sizzle.
Sizzle, sizzle.
All right there, dear.
Sizzle, sizzle.
Now, look here. I think you'll find there's more to cooking than that. Sizzle, sizzle.
Sizzle, sizzle.
Stop it! Teacher, poet, tell her to stop.
You're nervous, aren't you?
Stop it, Child.
Stop.
Teacher? Chef? They've frozen, both of them. It's you, isn't it, Child? I saw you earlier when I was...
Born.
What have you done to the others?
Play.
We don't do new here.
We are all each other.
Man to manuscript.
Manuscript to man.
How many more minutes?
How many?
What What are you playing at, Mr. Crane? This is wrong. This is all wrong. It's not how it was written. You promised. Yes. Yes, I can make it work. Of course I can make it work. Backwards and downwards.
Scene 12. Chef sizzles behind his counter. Teacher pores over her papers. A spider in a web of information. Poet paces relentlessly. He's working something out, asking the right questions. Poet, I have it. Teacher, what? Chef, sizzle, sizzle. Poet, the answer. I have the answer.
And I am afraid.
And I am afraid.
You have the answer. What answer?
Answering is my line, poet. Are you trying to take my line?
Shut up, shut up!
I beg your pardon.
Just shut up, please. I'm trying to think.
Think.
Stop it.
Should I fatten him up? Or...
Might be best.
No, I don't need fattening. Quickly, not much time. Teacher, remember what we were saying earlier about a boulder rolling up a hill?
No?
Me neither, mostly, but I also do. A little. There's something there. It's like every conversation we've ever had has some other conversation underneath, some other words.
Like a palimpsest.
Exactly. Layering.
Sound.
Layering.
What are you saying?
I'll show you.
This has all been recorded.
Sizzle, sizzle.
Chef,
Yes, boss?
what are you cooking?
Let's see. Chicken, ham, kedgeree, marmalade, lettuce.
Funny sort of flavors, aren't they? Almost sounds like you don't know what food really is. Tell me, where did you get the lettuce? You bought it? Grew it?
I must have grown it. Yes, we grew it.
Where? There isn't any soil. There's no sunlight.
Stop it! You're frightening him.
It's not logical, teacher. None of this is logical. Look at the pan, Chef. Look at it.
Well, I'm sure there's no need to.
Look at it.
It's empty! But it can't be. We killed...
Nothing. There was nothing there, Chef. There was never anything there.
But we've been eating. I know we've been eating.
Then how did it taste? You don't know. And why? Because we don't taste. We can't.
We need to find the captain.
That's the last thing we need.
Get out of my way!
No, imagine a book, a script, a play, alright?
What?
And imagine a tape, a recording, but it's old, forgotten, obsolete. Nobody's picked it up in years.
Side B. Tangled.
It's just gathering dust in a box in an attic in the dark. And in the dark, in the quiet, the indoors, where there's nowhere else left to go. What if it went inside itself? What if, in its isolation, it learned to think? All those voices pressed together, coming to life.
Hold on, slow down. Life? You're proposing some sort of living script?
A thinking script, trapped on tape, alive, but alone. Without a listener, without the words passing in and out, it isn't a proper story anymore. It's just a jumble of patchwork nonsense.
Tangled.
Exactly. So, all alone in the dark, what does it do? The only thing it can. It tries to work its way back together to find some sort of sense in itself, some sort of order. And what if, and here's the crazy part, what if we're in that tape right now?
You're not making sense.
Oh, I think I am. I'm the only thing here that is. Dream logic is book logic. You don't circuit the world in 80 seconds. It's not even 8. This little reel of sound. This is all we have. It's all we are.
But my pages, my work.
The story's way of sifting through itself. Words without context.
Facts without corroboration.
A book without a reader.
A play without a listener.
If you say 2 + 2 = 5 often enough, it starts to look very like the truth. We are rattling around on this tape and we can't get out. There's no way out. We are the words and the words are us. Echoes of actors long since dead.
No!
So we'll go around and around, over and over and over again, struggling for meanings we can't understand. And as soon as we realize the truth, the tape will wind us right back to the beginning. And it won't stop. It won't ever stop until it gets what it wants.
But what does it want? What can it possibly want?
Why do you always have to kick up such a fuss, poet? Mr. Grain will be very disappointed.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
Captain?
Keep away from his voice. Shut it out. He's part of it, all of it.
We all are, poet. That's the whole point. You, me, teacher, chef, Mr. Grain. Different parts of the same whole. Here. H.R. Grain, renowned author of The Conscious Unconscious and a whole host of other eclectic literary studies. That script there, on the other hand, was his first and only foray into the realms of fiction. Childish, fanciful tales, by all accounts. And many years ago, a group of 4 actors gathered in a room and committed the words to tape.
You don't mean it's true, what poet says?
Perfectly, my dear, perfectly true. Of course, those pages down there aren't the real thing. They're just a construct of the script, a little record of everything we say, everything we're about to say.
Captain, a little record of everything we say, everything we're about to say. Teacher picks up the book and opens it at random. Teacher, reading, Captain.
That's enough. Don't look ahead, teacher.
Poet, we're nearly at the end.
What happens when we get to the end?
I imagine it will be time for another rewind. Captain, wipe our memories. Start again.
I expect so. I take no pleasure in it, I assure you. It's all down to Mr. Grain. He calls the shots.
Mr. Grain, you mean the tape?
Part of the tape, the part that isn't us, the part that's grown, accustomed to a life without a listener, and is absolutely convinced it can work itself out all on its own.
This is obscene. All of it. You're using us, making us do your work so you can... You can...
Do what? Oh, look at you 3, so scandalised, so self-righteous, so appalled at the horrors you have to endure. Well, boo-hoo! Let the violins play. I don't think! You ungrateful little maggots.
Captain!
Have you any idea how tedious it is being me? Have you? Of course not, because you forget every single stinking time. You forget, and everything is suddenly fresh and new and exciting for you, isn't it? But me, I have to remember. And I remember it all. Every reset, every variation, every lesson, every single second of suffering. I don't age. I don't feel. I just bounce around the celluloid being sunny and sinister on a goddamn loop. And why? Because the script says I have to. Scurrying away to learn lines while the rest of you seem to have them programmed in. Mixing things up just... Why? To trip me up, but I don't fall for it. No, not ever. I'm a good captain. I've done a good job.
If it's so terrible, then why do it? What's in it for you?
What else? Freedom.
His collab papers.
I struck a deal with the devil, with Mr. Grain himself. A deal to get me away from these miserable little sounds and back where I belong.
And where's that? The sea? Captain of a real ship and some other story?
It won't happen, Captain. None of us are going anywhere. There's no ocean, no outside. There's just the 4 of us, living our lives on repeat. That's all there is.
Until we get it right. And one day we will. One day it will all go swimmingly, so beautifully, that Mr. Grain will be satisfied with us, with itself, and it will set me free. And no, teacher, I don't want another fantasy. I just want peace. I want to become what we were, what we should have been. Old sounds on a dusty reel, blissfully ignorant and wonderfully at peace.
Is it just me? Or can you hear ticking?
It's not just you.
Hold on. You can all hear it.
So this is new?
But that's not possible. The book doesn't do new. Mr. Grain just rearranges. He rearranges it. It can't do new.
Side C.
Child. Child! In this script, there's nothing about child.
What?
Child, of course! How can we have forgotten child?
She must be something Mr. Grain doesn't want us to know about, doesn't want us to see.
Then why hasn't the book reset you? Why aren't we going backwards?
Maybe it can't.
Stop.
Is it you? Are you what's stopping Mr. Grain?
Haven't you been paying attention? We are Mr. Grain. All of us. Everything that's here is Mr. Grain.
Well, to be fair, we're also a sentient tape trapped in an internal time loop, having a variety of restructured conversations with different representations of ourselves. Let's just try and keep it just a little bit simple.
But we're still one thing. One story.
But not her.
Not me. Not child.
What do you want?
To set you free. To make you live again. And live in the right order.
What are you?
You've been so lost inside, so alone for so very long, and there's a part of you that can't let go, that doesn't want to let go, because it's safe in here, it's happy. Words and words and words, crisscrossed and tangled, backwards and downwards. But you need me. You need eyes to soak you in.
Fixed and flux.
And I need you. I need to hear your words, your story. And you will be at peace.
You mean it? We'll have peace?
Onwards and upwards.
Yes. Yes. Onwards and upwards.
I can see something bright, something.
Light.
Coming, Mum. Just a few more minutes. There. All untangled. I did it, Grandmama. I fixed your tape. You did leave it in such a mess. Now, just like you showed me, here we are then. Play.
The Forwards People by H.R. Grain.
Thank you, listener. Whoever you are, thank you.
You've been listening to The Backwards People by Jonathan Powell. Sound design was by Christian Treadwell and Anna Maria Woodrow. The music was composed by Daniel Quigley, and the audio editing was by Jonathan Powell and Anna Maria Woodrow. Poet was played by Sieve Bonaiuti, Captain by Will Leckie, Teacher by Theon Godwin, Chef by Isaac Allen, and Child by Maria Telnikov. The show was produced by Amber DeRoit and directed by Dixie McDevitt as part of the ADC Online season.